Shalom, peace, greetings from the Most High, Maya Alaha, and Yosha Mashika, Jesus the Messiah. We are the Ministry of the Real Truth, and that's what we bring you through our videos. So if you are a subscriber, we give a thumbs up to you for sticking with us, staying loyal, staying with us, all 67 of you from wherever you're from. We are thanking you very much. It's a big shout out to you. So we, the Ministry of the Real Truth, strive to bring you the real truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, no hype or fluff or anything else. Yeah, because our business is, policy is, honesty is our best policy. So we're looking at these different cults around the world at the moment, and we found one in particular, the US Hebrew Israelites, i.e., right, I don't know what chapter this is, I guess it's the San Diego Israelites. Never met them, well, I don't live in America, so I've got nothing personal against them. They're, yeah, brothers, right, I'd say they're brothers, you're treating like that. But it's just that they're giving out bad translations, interpolations, misinterpretations, etc., and steering the people wrong. And they also have like some sort of anger issues, like white people go past and they yell at stupid cracker, all that sort of stuff. Syria did. That's why that General Yohan or Yokohan or whatever his name is got arrested for that in America. Yeah, they're just downright rude. Threaten people. I'm not saying it's this chapter, I'm just saying it's another one from somewhere else. In America, yeah, they tend to do that. Yeah, so what these people here asked a Jew, this guy with the microphone, he asked the lady, a Jewish, yeah, okay, don't you Jews know that the word Judah, Jew came from the word Judah? Okay, this man here with the blue t-shirt, this Sakari guy with no hair, says, yeah, it came from Judah, the name Judah, the first two letters, right? So that's correct according to the ancient Aramaic manuscripts. Yeah, and it was used in the Middle Ages, etc., referring to these people, the Jews, and the Germans called them Juden, J-U-D-E-N, pronounced as Juden, okay, all Jews. Okay, so I don't know if it's actually at that point where he asked her, but we'll have a look.
What we're reading. I'm not right now. He is our Savior, but He is not the Most High God.
So he's incorrect there. I'll put a comment down below. It's amongst many others, but this guy's saying that Christ, which is the Messiah, Yosha Mashika, is not God. He's only the Messiah. Well, he's incorrect, because I used to believe that too, because I thought I could use logic and common sense according to what's written in English, translated into English from the ancient Old Aramaic, Galilean Aramaic, by a native-born translator from Mesopotamia, Bet Narim. But he told me, no, you got a funny way of looking at Jesus, he is God, right? Or Yosha, he is God, and it's in the scriptures. So I looked all over, because I thought that, you know, like Jesus is in the garden praying to his Father in heaven. So logically, using common sense, I thought, well, if he's down here on earth in the flesh, God's up there sitting on his throne, right, getting all praise and whatever, then there must be two separate beings. And I was told again, it's in the scriptures, the ancient manuscripts, translated by him, Victor N. Alexander. So I looked and I eventually found it. He is God, because it states he has the sacred title reserved only for him, the Milta, M-I-L-T-A, which there's no English equivalent meaning of that word. Okay. So the closest thing to it that Victor N. Alexander could use was manifestation. So that manifestation, as stated in 1 John verse 1 of the original Galilean Aramaic scriptures in English, states that he was the manifestation of God, and God is the embodiment of that manifestation. And it's all to do with the ancient Mesopotamian triune winged disc icon, winged disc icon representing the triune, known as the Elohim, E-L-O-H-E-E-M. There's a difference between that and the Hebrew word Elohim, or Elohim, him, right? Elohim. Okay, it's very different, and it means in the closest English, over the flames. So if you understand that disc icon, that ancient Mesopotamian winged disc icon, and the concept of it, then you'll understand the triune, that there are three as one. Okay, three in one purpose. Is the God the Father, the Supreme, the Son, with the Multa, and there's the Holy Spirit, okay, which is usually referred, especially in Messianic thought, that she is feminine gender. Okay, so she's a she, or the Ruach Hakodesh. Okay, this is coming from ancient old texts, not the Syriac, which is a modern derivative. It's coming from the reconstructed dead language, or resurrected language of the ancient scribes and monks around 800 BCE, who spoke that sacred scribal old tongue, Lishana Artika or Lishana Cypraea. Okay, if you need proof of this, ask a native-born Assyrian, and they'll tell you about it. I think the Aramaic translator put an H on the end of Cypraea, S-U-P-P-R-A-Y-A-H, right? But they say no, there's no H, it's just S-U-P-P-R-A. And Ma-Yah, M-A-R-Y-A-H, means Lord, Master, God. Okay, Joshua is the equivalent to, supposedly the equivalent to Joshua in English, or Yeshua. So that's all good there. But yeah, these people are saying there's no God when the ancient Aramaic manuscripts, not copies of copies of copies of copies of copies or rewrites, actually states that he is God. He himself is God. Okay? And the reason why, you probably say, oh, where's the proof for that? It doesn't say that. Well, it actually does in the ancient, as I said, in the ancient Aramaic manuscripts. Okay, here's why. If you know Exodus at all, if you ever read it properly, it actually states in the ancient Aramaic that Moses didn't talk to God through a burning bush. He actually talked to him. He was on a flying flaming disc, talking from there, sitting or standing, whatever, right? Okay, and he said to Moses, no man can see God and hope to live. He'll die, right? Because he comes out, shows his true form in all his glory, holiness, etc. He's too righteous, you would die. Okay, so he goes down to the people, and the people say in the text, "Ooh, we know he has seen God," but an Eastern expression or idiom or thought, they're actually saying we know he has seen, i.e., been in the presence of God, okay, in God's presence, because his hair is white. Okay? So you got to watch out for these later Americanized modern versions. Okay, King James was okay because it was never messed with. It just had the Apocrypha until 1889, and it was taken out. But all these other ones, coming from a certain source, like the scribes, etc., deliberately corrupted it, as we keep mentioning about this video by Guy O'Brien, okay, the American Bible Society and the likes. So these people here, okay, they mean well, but they're reading from copies of copies of copies of copies of copies, not original manuscripts, from the original old tongue. Okay, the language, okay, they're reading English, they have a Western mindset, so they're thinking with it, Western mindset, they're educated like that, right? Okay, so they have this Western understanding, but it's all written by scribes from the ancient East, okay, who have a different mindset, okay, customs, traditions, etc. They have a different way of expressing themselves and thinking. So you can't try to mix the Western with Eastern with the Western. It doesn't gel. It's like gasoline. It's like petrol, oil. It doesn't mix, right? Yeah, it just doesn't gel. So that's what they're trying to do. So that's where they're going wrong. Plus the scripture's corrupted anyway. You know, one minute it says one thing in one version of Bible Hub, and you look down a bit further, it says something completely different. Why did they change it? Okay, because I think it was one of these Old Testament scriptures in the Book of Solomon. It says, "Oh look, I am black." And it was talking about a woman from Kedar forced by her family to work in the fields, so she got really dark. Not necessarily, she wasn't black, right? And it's not Solomon, it's a woman, right? Because she comes to the temple or the palace of King Solomon in that era, right? And she notices his curtains very beautiful, etc. So she says, I am like the curtains of Solomon, right? In his kingdom or temple or wherever she was, right? Yeah, because she was a potential lover, supposedly. It says it wasn't Solomon saying, oh, look, daughters of Jerusalem, I'm black, right? You got to watch out for that. And then they try to say in, what was it? I can't remember what the verse was. It's in a comment down below. Have a look. See if I can see it. Okay, it's about them saying, say it's black, that they're black. Okay, but it's actually wrong. So okay, there's no racism or hatred or anything like that. So yeah, it's just explaining it. Person's reply. It says here, dig it. This is sad. My brothers think, well, these people up here, think they know the truth, but are cherry picking verses out of the Bible to make a point. Exactly, because they're looking for an identity, the African roots, the identity that have been suppressed, you know, by certain people. It's been stripped of them. Okay, they don't know their history, you know, the true history. They're trying to find it. They're trying to identify themselves. It's like when reggae first came out, all these people were trying to identify with it, right, and claiming to be Rasta and all this stuff, where they can't be Rasta because they had the you know, locks growing naturally and don't cut the beard and all that, all these different rules. But they were probably just in it for the pot, really. Okay, so this guy says, this is sad, my brothers, these Israelites, think they know the truth but are cherry picking verses out of the Bible to make a point. Yeah, probably King James Version or some other Americanized Bible version, right? Bible version. The Bible has to be read in context. Acts 13 verse 1, Niger is a place, not a derogatory term. Because this guy here was trying to say this certain verse says that this person was black. Simon of Niger, Niger. It's a place, right? Niger or Niger, Nigeria. It was a place in Africa, right? But here it is here. Look, true, Niger or Niger, possibly a Dutch word used later becoming a derogatory term. It's actually English. Okay, you got French, Niger, which means snow. Yeah. Here's a slang phrase. Concealed motive or unknown factor affecting the situation in an adverse way, OED, as attested by 1800 Thornton's American Glossary 1912, defines it as a mode of accounting for the disappearance of fuel, hence an unsolved mystery. See, this has nothing to do with racism, okay, being racist. Okay, and here's the other one. The dreaded N-word, as a word, is also used to describe a dark shade of colour. Brown, black, the status of whites that mix together with blacks. Dealer, driver, all that, right? Belonging to or linked to African Americans. Okay, there's heaps more here. And you got this one from 1786, earlier Niger or Nigger, 1568, Scottish and Northern England dialect or language. There you go. From French negre, from Spanish negro and see negro. From the earliest usage, it was the term that carries with it all the obloquy, is it? Obloquy? In contempt and rejection which whites have inflicted on blacks, cited in Gowers 1965, probably Harold R. Isaacs. Okay, I'm going to put this twice. I can delete that comment there. I didn't mean to put it twice. Get rid of that one. Must have been when I was correcting some words or something. Okay, so that's basically that. So he's incorrect. Okay, that Simon sent to find Saul or Paul and others, right, with a couple of other people, Barnabas, etc., wasn't black. So that guy's incorrect there. Okay. You just, as I said, they're just trying to find their roots, their identity, establish something, you know, and they come out with all this jibber jabber, this falsities, and then they start making up these names like Yahoo Washi Washi, Yahoo Wua Wa Wa Wa, you know, whatever. That's not even Hebrew, yet they claim it is. Because I've asked an expert with 2 doctorates who knows the Hebrew, right, and the Aramaic, and says, what's that rubbish? Never heard of it. It's not in the Hebrew. You should know, having 2 doctorates, being a professor.
Let me bring something out for you, though. He was a Jewish man or a Jew? Give me 1 and 1 and 13. Because, okay, because you're saying that Christ was a Jewish man from the tribe of Judah, and then you're saying you're a Jew from the tribe of Levi, right? But The scriptures describe him to be a dark, melanated brother from the tribe of Judah with woolly hair. So then how come your people are out here perpetuating our culture, saying that they're from the tribe of Judah, when they don't even look like the Messiah? Bring it up.
So he's going to read Revelations.
The revelation of Jesus Christ.
It's the revelation of Jesus Christ, right?
Which God gave unto him to show unto his servants things which must shortly come to pass. And he said, and significantly, 13, his head and his hairs were white like wool.
His head and his hairs were white like wool, describing the texture of his hair. So his hair was woolly. Keep reading.
And his eyes were as flame of fire, and his feet like unto fine brass.
What color is brass? What color is brass?
Hold on a minute. I think I made a mistake. It seems like Jewish.
Well, now you made a mistake.
There are three.
So what this guy's doing is, I think he's quoting Revelations 13, 15 or something like that. I put the verse in a comment and all that, explaining it, because I have these arguments with these Hebrews, Israelites, women, whatever, saying, oh, you're wrong, all this sort of stuff. The Bible says this, the Bible says that. When I explain it to them, I give them the proof, the links to the sources, etc. The ancient Aramaic scriptures that state that this woman of Kedar wasn't black. She was dark, but that's not saying, definitely that she was black or that Solomon was black. Okay, these guys are saying that Jesus was black, right? They're doing all this trickery. Okay, when that verse, Revelations, actually says he had woolly hair, but some of them say nappy hair, because African people got that like really tight hair. That's I've got a cousin who's got hair like that, and it grows dreadlocks really well. Okay, I don't have that sort of hair. Okay, so I think I'd go bald probably if I try to grow dreadlocks because of the weight. Right, they start to bleed. I'd go bald, whatever. They'll have patches. Yeah, so they have this nappy hair like that. These poodles, they have that little tight, curly black hair, right? Okay. There's none on here that actually have it, and they got these big afros and whatever, Yeah, so because on the Denzel Washington movie, Cry Freedom, I think, or Malcolm X or something. Yeah, Malcolm X. He stood up against a Catholic priest and said, you're actually wrong, he was black, right? And he had nappy hair, which is incorrect. Okay, it says woolly. Sheep have woolly hair. Woolly, yeah, they're woolly, wool. Okay, you need to learn the difference between a sheep and a poodle. Yeah, the texture is different, because I used to work on a farm and I dealt with wool. I was a shearer for a while there, right? Shear off the wool. And so you need to know something about sheep, yeah, before you start quoting falsities. Okay, back to that, right? Okay, so he's saying he had woolly hair, eyes like fire, and he had feet like burnished brass. That's what it says in your modern version. Okay, but in the ancient Aramaic, it actually states he had feet like Lebanese copper forged in the furnace, which when you look at the footnotes of it, it's in the comments here, I don't go through it, look for it, take forever. Basically, it's stating that John, who was the youngest of all those disciples, he was very young, okay, probably in his 20s, ends up being imprisoned on Patmos Island for his belief in Yeshua Mashiach, or Jesus the Messiah. He's exiled there. So he starts writing because he had these visions, these revelations of what was going on in heaven, what he saw, and what was probably going to happen, or prophesied in a later era. That's what it was all about. From the beginning of Christ, right, from the very beginning in the Old Testament to the very end of Revelations. That's what it's all about, and all the events in between. Okay, so he's prophesying of a futuristic events, right? But he sees Christ, or Jesus the Messiah, in his heavenly body, a spiritual body, because there's other verses where he's said to be seen in a vestment or clothing that's dipped in blood and all that sort of stuff, and the angel says, hey look, take that off him and give him these clothes, or put this on him, whatever, and a sash and all that sort of stuff, right? It's all in Revelations. Yeah? So he's seeing a spiritual body of Christ, right? A heavenly body, because when he before he ascended to heaven, and there was like Moses and Elijah on both sides, the disciples actually said, they saw him change, his transfiguration. He transfigured, so he had this heavenly body, okay, the spiritual body. Then he went up, right? So it's not talking about him and what he looked like as a man, as God in the flesh. It's not talking about that. Okay? These people really need to learn how to read, right, and define the words that they see. Okay? It's not saying that he was black, as they claim, right? Okay, it's just saying he had white hair, skin, feet, as if like Lebanese copper, as if, or in your modern versions, as if fired or burnished in brass. So you go, I'll put a link. Actually, I've done another video, but I'll put a link to what brass actually looks like when you heat it up. From a professional, it goes white. Okay, it doesn't stay black. Okay, because you got to polish it as well. There's one on the guy polishes it. Okay, and it comes up all shiny and beautiful. Right? That's what the ancient Mesopotamians, etc., when they had brass objects and stuff, they'd buff it up, to shine it up. Yeah? It doesn't stay black. But people say, oh no, you don't know what you're talking about. Oh, it's a YouTube video. Oh, it must be a joke. Well, that's the crap, right? Because they got exposed. They don't like that, right? So yeah, we'll carry on and see what else this guy has to say. So they're actually incorrect there. Okay. Because the Bible actually states nobody there really knows what it looks like. Okay. People did paintings, which are Renaissance or Renaissance saints or something. Saints. Was it with Renaissance, Renaissance or something? Resonance or whatever. Old French painters that wanted to provide a picture of what Christ looked like for people in churches. It just went on like that forever, right? Okay. One minute he's got ginger hair and blue eyes, white skin. Next minute he's got like blonde hair and blue eyes, beard, no beard, all this sort of stuff. Everyone had their different concept. And then there's that woman or that young girl that painted him. Looks like Barry Manilow. Then suddenly she does another one. He looks like somebody completely different, right? So yeah. So they just see, it's like nothing really significant to look at, supposedly, and supposedly in the book of lost book of Herod, he describes him. He's got ginger hair and all this sort of stuff. Yeah, but those are pseudepigraphers. They know it's written at a certain date, but they can't provide details of that author. That's why it's called pseudepigrapher. Okay, it's not fake. It's not regarded as fraud. It's just somebody like called Barney Lovechild or something out there. His name wasn't, like, what the hell, Barney Lovechild? So he decides to write under an assumed name, right? And he makes out that he's the Apostle Paul. So people take notice of him. Okay. And then they read him. Believe what he said, whatever. Okay, so let's have a look and see what he has to say after that.
Hierarchies. There's Cohen,
Let me ask you one thing.
and Israel. That's within the Jewish religion.
Where's that in the Bible?
I said that I'm Levi.
What is it? You're Levi? You're Levi, right?
It's in the Jewish
Okay. Who are the ancient Egyptians? Would you say they were black people?
Absolutely.
Okay.
My ancient Jews were black too.
Now. What about the Canaanites? Those were Hamites too, right?
Yes.
So you mean to tell me Israelites were in Egypt for 400 years and made it with Hamites, but they still have blonde hair and blue eyes? So how did they turn white?
That happened much later when in the diaspora where we were dispersed.
Can you prove that? Prove it.
dispersed.
Okay, so now this guy in the purple jumps in and he says, the Israelites were black, they're in Egypt, all that sort of stuff. But if you look at the historical records, or the history, the real history, you'll find that supposedly, right, because there's a problem with this story, this record, right, there's many variations to it. Dr. Ben, they know of Dr. Ben Johann or something like that, or Dr. John Henry Clark. I think it was Dr. Ben actually went to Egypt, looked at the columns, the hieroglyphics or the metuneta, whatever you call it, okay, the old ancient Egyptian script, and he said apparently at the time in the era of King Amos, which Shaka Amos of House of Consciousness is named after, King Amos the first. The Hyksos had come into Egypt and they ruled it for 400 years or something like that. And he got sick of them, as I said earlier. So he says, enough is enough. Egypt for Egypt, and booted them out. So they ended up in northern Egypt, which is supposedly southern, or southern Egypt, which is supposedly northern, right? It's kind of weird, right? And they created a kingdom called Avaris, also known as Zion. So when they ended up getting out of there, they created a new Zion in Jerusalem. Right? Okay. If there was a Zion in Jerusalem, Zion, Z-I-O-N or S-I-O-N, they created a new one. Okay, so they hold up there in this kingdom. So this King Amos decided to try and invade them, attack them, and get them out, kick them out, because all of it was ruled by Egypt, right? That for miles and miles they had, like, the whole area was boarded off because they became one eventually, right? North and south. So they boarded and patrolled all those areas because people would come in and try and attack them and all that sort of stuff. So they're very guarded like that. So he goes there and he ends up getting killed. They don't know how he died, but he just got killed. So his son, in revenge, goes out there to try and finish the work of his father, but he gets killed. There's only the wife who sits on the throne, right, and becomes the queen, queen, right? I've forgotten what her name is. And she had a young son. He was only about 10 or so at the time, so he had no idea about the art of war, how to fight, how to win, all that sort of stuff. So she trains him up for 10 or 20 years, or as long as she could. And then she sends him off to fight them. He eventually invades. He invades it, kicks them out, chases them to the Red Sea. They got nowhere to go, so either drowns them or lops off their head. That's one story. The other story is that his wife, right, being the king, queen, not the pharaoh, because that means house, she went out there in a chariot and defeated them and did that. And then there's another one, book of Tacitus, book of Histories, book 5, AD 70, paragraph 4, where King Barnabas, something like that, in that era, said, well, Tacitus was a Roman historian, right? But you got to be careful because they're very political. You know, they're the good guys. You don't say nothing wrong about them. They're always going to come out to be the good guys in the end, right? Where he states that these Hyksos, or these, actually he states these Jews had swine. They were swine herders. Maybe had goats as well. But these pigs were infected with a plague. Okay, whatever it was called in the book of Tacitus, is this plague. So the oracles of this King Barnabas told him, hey, you got to get these people and these swine out, because if this is infected with this plague or this leprosy or whatever it is, then your people are going to catch it and die. So get them out, right? So he kicks them out, and they go out into the desert, and they got no food, no water, and they're crying their eyes out and all that sort of stuff. And this Moses, who wanted to be their leader real bad, so he said to them, well, if I can relieve you of that problem, will you make me a leader? So they said, sure. So he goes up this, he noticed he's out in the desert wandering around apparently, and he sees this flock of animals, goats or whatever they were, come down this hill, and he looked over the top, went over the top, had a look, and there's an oasis, right, a water hole. So he gave these people water, so that made him the leader, and all that sort of stuff. Okay? That's why it's two different versions there. Okay, there's King Amos did it, got the Hyksos out, the wife, after the son and the husband and the son got killed, she trained up the youngest son, the art of war, all that sort of stuff. Then she rode out and defeated the Varis kingdom, this Hyksos, or the son did it, you know. Then you got this Tacitus Barnabas, King Barnabas there, yeah, jogged them out, went over and defeated them in their new kingdom, Varis, with Zion, etc. like that. Okay. So you got to like do the research and figure out which one is actually historical fact. Okay. Where's the evidence? Where's the proof? Could establish the facts that A is the right answer according to the what's written on the pillars. But the trouble with the Egyptians, they also like to be the good guys, right? We won the war. They're not gonna, apparently they don't like to say, well, we actually lost. Yeah, to show the people that they were victorious. Keep the people happy, all that sort of stuff. Okay. Yeah, or B, Tacitus's claim. You got to, as I said, you've got to establish the facts, provide the evidence. That which one is actually correct. There's so many variations. You might get the House of Consciousness, Sarnet, etc. Shaka Amos telling you something different. Yeah, maybe. I'm not saying he is. Yeah. So this guy is incorrect. It's possibly incorrect if the Hebrews or the Jews might have been there in a small section, a small amount, or they were Egyptians and they actually left, because these people that left with this Moses or Mose, according to Tacitus, obviously he was in, if he was a true guy, true person, and he was picked up from a basket as a baby on the River Nile and taken into the Egyptian court, and he trained up in the Egyptian education and their ways and all that sort of stuff, he'd know all about that, right? So his 10 commandments were probably the 42 laws of Ma'at, or whatever he learned in the Egyptian court. It's kind of strange how this Hebrew baby is floating in a basket, very similar to the Sargon I myth. Okay, King Sargon was a real guy. He gets picked up and he gets taken into the Egyptian court, right? And all this sort of stuff, and he gets educated. Didn't anyone think, where did this baby come from? Because my daughter hasn't got a man, or she's been playing around. Who's the man? Who's the father? Right? Where's this kid? Where'd you find this kid? Where'd you get this kid? Would she have lied, or would she have told the truth? I don't think she would have told the truth, because then they probably would have drowned the baby, or whatever they did, the creed, according to the scriptures, right? That any baby under 2, male, had to be drowned or whatever in the Nile. So he grows up in the Egyptian ways. So maybe a whole lot of people, Egyptians or whatever, got out and wandered off somewhere. Not necessarily or an Egyptian mix, not necessarily the Jews or the Israelites. You've got to really do your research. There's an old Buddhist, what's his name? Buddha saying, don't believe everything you hear, what you're taught, what's in your holy books. You've got to figure it all out for yourself. Okay? Because they could steer you wrong. You've got a meme that on. Okay. Yes, I'd be very, very careful of these people. Okay. I think they were in Canada up against Christ's Forgiveness Ministry, and they got defeated. It's another group. They tried to take over, take his corner, and he came. They were giving him crap through email or whatever, picking on a student. So he says, "I come there every Tuesday. I can only get there on Tuesday." So he arrives and he defeats them. They were just like standing there, like they had no words once he dealt with them. They were stumped. Yeah. And then they were, I think it was Captain Cesariak or whatever, one of their leaders. She said, it's because the guy wasn't trained very well in how to do a rebuttal or something. He made some excuse. And they said, why don't you go up there and do it? I don't know if he ever did, but probably would have got defeated as well. So he never went up there. I don't know.
Black people were dispersed, and then they turned white. Did you know just 2,000 years ago, give me Acts 13:1. Did you know just 2,000 years ago, what's your name? Sharon. Did you know just 2,000 years ago the real Jews were called niggers? Have you ever been called that before? Absolutely not. Watch what the Bible says, read.
Another word in the church that was in Antioch, certain prophets and teachers as Barnabas and Simeon, that was called nigger.
That's Bible.
It's Niger, N-E-I-G-E-R. Right. I looked at the ancient Aramaic and it said Niger, N-E-I-G-E-R, and that's what I put in that comment, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, it's not the N word, right? It's not that at all. Yeah, so these guys again are lying. Okay, where was it? Okay, it's not here. I'm missing another one I put in here. There's something. Acts 1:3, I think he said. It does say that. It says someone sent these people from the Church of Jerusalem, I think it was, to find Paul or Saul, Paul of Tarsus. They went to Tarsus to look for him, right? And then when this guy found him, they got together in this church. These apostles, apparently these prophets of Jerusalem, ended up in Tarsus, and they found Paul, right? And they told him through the Holy Spirit, etc., etc., right? And then he went back to one of their churches or something, and they were one in agreement. Okay, they were one in union, and they preached to different people, many people. It's not saying just their own people or Jews, right? It's probably the Greeks, Romans, converts, and they were called. They ended up after that becoming. They were called the first Christians. Okay, the 12 disciples weren't Christians; they were kosher Jews. Okay? They were kosher Jews because Peter refused to eat. We had that vision from the Lord or the angel, whatever. Take these animals that have been made clean by God, take them and eat them. Right? He says, no, I can't do that. I'm a kosher Jew. Right? So he wouldn't touch those animals, but he's told, they've been clean, take them, eat them. So I guess he did. And go meet the centurion, this Roman person, whatever he was, because he wants to convert. Oh, don't mess with those people. We don't associate with them, don't have them in our house, we don't eat with them, we don't talk to them, all that sort of stuff. That's the kind of people they were. And they weren't Christians. They were called themselves Mashikai in the ancient Aramaic, because they refused to be labelled something given by Roman pagans, right? The Roman state church. At first it was made illegal. This form of belief, right, was made illegal, and then they were persecuted, all that sort of stuff. And then later on, Constantine declared it legal. He made that belief system legal, part of the Roman state. Okay, it became their church, and it was called Christianity. And the people that were converted to it were in Damascus, etc. Right? They were Greeks, Romans, or whatever that lived there, that were converted because the Jews hardened their hearts against Christ, saying, "Oh, you claim to be God," all that sort of stuff. The Son of God, blaspheme, all that stuff. It's not. We're not gonna throw stones or stone you because all those wonderful miracles and stuff you did. There's beautiful works. We'd do it because you're claiming to be, you're blaspheming and claiming to be God, the Son of God. Okay, and then he tells them, well, haven't I, the Messiah, said in your laws that you are gods, right? I have said you are gods. And he tells them, like, you're looking through the scriptures trying to find me, and it's from the very first book, the very first text, right, until the very last coming up, right, Revelations, that it speaks of me, right, throughout the Old Testament and the New Testament, from the ancient Brita, with Genesis chapter 1 verse 1. It says, in the beginning, in the Eastern thought mindset, it's as the beginning, because he was that beginning, right? In the beginning, the Son of God, with a muta, the manifestation of God, created the heavens and the earth. Okay? So it's saying from the very beginning about Christ. And in Exodus, it mentions there in the ancient Aramaic that Moses was being spoken to from God above, but the manifestation, or the muta, or as we know him, the Messiah, was actually on earth speaking with him. And then he chased off, or got the Amalekites or something like that, fought against them, or did something to them with the sword of truth. Whatever it means. It means probably he spoke to them and dealt with them. He didn't like go and chop their head off or anything like that. Okay, as it seems to hint at in the modern Americanized versions. Okay, so yeah, these people are leading people astray. Okay, I don't know where I put this thing, but you can probably find it on there under Real Juicy News. Okay, it's one of my other channels. But yeah, that's all about the N-word and their claim, which is false. Okay, they make up names like this. Okay. I don't know what this is. Sifa Bisara Yaku Kakanon. Like this was the Latin for what's his name? Peter's name, Cephas, or Cepha, right? Okay, this Besora, I don't know what that is. I thought it was one of those candles or something like that, you know, some holy item. This is supposed to be John. It's Johann or something like that. Yeah, in the Aramaic. Yeah, so they just seem to make up these names, like they make up names like Yahu Washi, you know, and it's not even Hebrew. So what's going on there? Yeah, and all this other stuff to establish that, you know, they're supposed to be the chosen and all that sort of stuff. Okay, yes, they say he has a white hair according to Revelations. It says he has a woolly hair and head like, you know, snow and all that sort of stuff. It's a physical, it's not physical, it's a spiritual body, okay? A heavenly body. So yeah, just be very, very careful of these guys, okay? In their teachings. They're leading people astray.
Whether it's this is New Testament. Oh, you know, but you just said Jesus Christ.
No, I said.
You asked him if he believed in Jesus Christ.
Well, because I want to know where you're coming from.
Okay, can we believe in the historicity of the New Testament? Let's say we don't agree with the doctrine. Is this history though? Let's say we disagree with the doctrine. Is this history though?
Yeah, I found there's a history there. Like if I have contact with a native-born Mesopotamian Aramaic speaking, he resurrected, let's say, the ancient dead language, Kitab Asheret. I don't know how he did it, and that's how he translated those ancient original old Aramaic Kitab Asheret, Lishana, Artika, Sapray, etc. into English, okay? Because no one else out there was doing it. They were all using the Syriac. So these people are coming at him saying, oh, you don't know how to speak it. Oh, I know it. I went to university. I got a certificate. I know it. You learnt the modern Syriac, which is derivative. It's not that ancient old Kitab Asheret. Okay, so there's two languages, Kitab Asheret. It's the ancient Aramaic, old Aramaic. And then there's Kitab Ivri, right? The ancient old Hebrew. Today's supposedly is the Ivri, but it's not. It's modified when they added the vowels, and because they had no vowels, just consonants. Even the Aramaic, they both had the same. Before they added them, they both had the same words with the same meanings. But when they added that vowel system, it changed the structure, and it also changed the meaning. So now they have similar words, but with different meanings. Like you have Elohim in the Aramaic, which is Elohim, meaning over the flames, and then you have in the Hebrew Elohim, or him, Elohim, which has a different meaning. See the difference? Okay, and a lot of them have translated from the Masoretic text, etc., etc. There's a control system in place to keep all the people dumb, right, and under their their foothold, their boot, right? Keep them in check, keep them dumbed, so they can control them. So they realise they can get coin. They found, well, we can get rich off this, you know. So when everybody walks away from certain churches, like they did in Russia when they saw the claimed Messiah returned, the Siberian postman, they all left, and these priests of those churches, Orthodox churches in Russia or whatever, Siberia said, hey, where's everybody going? What they're hinting at was our coin went with them, you know, because this guy was so popular, and convinced them that he was the Messiah when years before that he was just an ordinary postman. Yeah, so be very careful of these guys. See what else I got to say.
Give me Songs of Solomon 1 and 5. Let's go to the
Now he's going to try and say Solomon
you.
was black. Yeah, Solomon was that woman of Kedar.
Can you prove that? It is? Did you know the Bible says that the real Jews will be in slavery upon the coming of the Messiah? So why aren't your people in slavery?
The Messiah that the Jews believe
Yeah.
arrives. It'll be a messianic age
Okay.
where there'll be peace throughout the earth.
Watch
She's
this.
going to tell us
Songs of
make to
Solomon
look
1
at the
and 5.
Bible.
Who's King Solomon?
He was the king of the Jews.
The son of David, right? Watch this.
I am black.
What?
I am black,
Go ahead.
but calmly, O ye daughters of Jerusalem.
So why does the Bible say that the daughters of Jerusalem, which would be the daughters of Levi, Benjamin, and Judah, would have a curse that they couldn't grow hair? Why do you have that?
Where does it say?
It doesn't actually say that. I've looked at that verse in ancient Aramaic and the these Americanized Bible versions. It doesn't say that. It just says that this woman, or this person of Kedar, right, which is was Arabic. Apparently, you look at the definition of Kedar, or the location of etymology, whatever. Right? Again, you find that it was Arabic. There's a whole lot of Arabs. Okay, Kedar. Yeah, and it's a woman who was forced by her family to work in the gardens in the hot sun, so she got dark. Okay, they'll say, oh no, say she's black. Yeah, that's one version. If you have a look at BibleHub.com, it says, oh, whatever, from Kedar, oh daughters of Jerusalem, I am dark. And the next one below it says, King James Version, whatever, I am black. And you don't know what to say, whatever, right? It's all different. Depends on what you read. But they'll read one and say, oh, see, they were black. Solomon was black. It's not talking about Solomon. It's talking about this woman who became his potential lover, who came to his palace or whatever, saw these curtains, saying something like, oh, I'm as dark as Solomon's curtains in this temple, etc., etc. It's a woman. Okay? Solomon probably had olive skin or whatever. He wasn't black. And these guys are just saying that, you know, like they're reading it wrong. Like they're saying that the word there for Simon the Niger, N-E-I-G-R, means that he's black. They're trying to use the N word to prove that he was black when he wasn't. It doesn't state in there he was black. Yeah, the ones that were sent, one of the guys, Simon the Niger, N-E-I-G-E-R, that was sent with Barnabas to find Paul or Saul of Tarsus. Okay. And talk to that guy. Yeah, so they're wrong there again. Yeah, so again, be very, very careful of these guys. You go to Starbucks, completely ignore them, and go to Starbucks. If they stop you and say blah blah blah, say we're incorrect, you can have a debate with them or whatever. But yeah, better to head to Starbucks. Yeah, enjoy a coffee, because you're going to get more truth in a cup of coffee than this cult, right?
Yeah, Isaiah chapter 3. Give me Isaiah chapter 3. We're going to prove something.
Bring it out.
Isaiah chapter 3. Where's it at? You got it? Yeah, we'll go Old Testament only. And give me Jeremiah 30. Isaiah 3 and 24.
As it shall come to pass that instead of sweet smell, there shall be stink. And instead of a girdle, a rent. And instead of well-set hair, baldness.
Well-set hair, baldness. That is the curse on the daughters of Jerusalem. Let's go up to right here, verse 16. But you say you're a daughter of Jerusalem? Or the daughter of the devil? So read.
Moreover, the Lord saith, because the daughters of Zion are hardy.
See that? So the curse of the daughters of Zion would be that they would have baldness on their hair. They wouldn't have well-set hair. That is a curse and a distinction. Give me Deuteronomy 28 and 46. Do you believe in the curses of Deuteronomy?
I believe in the Old Testament as an allegory, as a way of explaining things. There's some historical accurate things, but a lot of it, no. I only believe in it as a...
So she's a Hebrew, she's a Jew that doesn't believe in the Bible.
I believe in the Bible, but I'm not sure that the Red Sea physically actually...
Okay. So what is Hashem? Do you believe in the prophecies that Hashem spoke to the prophets? Deuteronomy 28:46. Watch this. We're going to show you that the Bible says the real Jews will go on slave ships. The real Jews will be oppressed, impoverished, disfranchised, and marginalized.
Why don't you believe in the one true God? Where does Christ come into it?
Christ is not...
Yeah, but you have a look at the history. Okay, this guy's trying to match black people with that event, right? Go have a look at what's his name? Simcha Jacobovici, quest for the lost, to find the lost tribes of Israel. He actually went out there with a pale Jew from Israel, right? Right, to find these lost 10 tribes, and he came across them, right? And they were Indians, you know, with the turban, Indian. They were Ethiopian Jews. They were welcomed into Israel because they were considered by the Jews as true remnant of the 10 lost tribes. So they just walked in there, right? And then you had the Asians who were militants. Okay. They were armed to the teeth, and he says they're very dangerous. If they go there, they might cause some trouble, shoot up the place, you know, that start Armageddon. Well, that's just his idea of it, right? Okay, start a problem there, right? Yeah, so apparently, historically, someone like the Babylonians invaded a certain area and took them, captured them, right? Some were sent on ships to different places, some were taken across lands to Babylonia or wherever, right? And put in exile, and then later on they were set free and all that sort of stuff, yeah, according to history and the Bible, and according to this Simcha Jojovic, this quest for the lost tribes. Okay, so yeah, these guys again are incorrect. They're trying to find the African roots, their identity, and match it with the Bible, right? And try to say that, oh, we are the chosen ones by Yahu, Wahi, whatever they make up, you know, and claim it's Hebrew when it's not. Okay, ask a professor with 2 doctorates. What's his name? Dr. James Francisco, I think, online, the Aramaic scriptures. I had comments under there. I asked him questions. He says, what the hell is that Yahu Wahi stuff that they... I copied and pasted that whole name. He says, what the hell is that? That's not even Hebrew. It's not even Aramaic. These guys are making stuff up, right? Okay. Yeah, as I just previously mentioned about all their claims and translation. Okay, we might leave it there because it's going to be too long. We might do a part 2 or part 3. Okay, because it just goes on and on. They just, yeah, giving bad translations, mistranslations, interpolations, etc. From these new Americanized Bible versions. I can even leave you the link or the video so you can have a look at this guy Brian, the 10-minute version. It's better. Okay, and he will verify that they all came from this source, who then corrupted it. The scribes corrupted it, their monks, whatever, and then they put it out, all these bogus versions out through the American Bible societies and similar Bible societies. So yeah, I've been on the street. I haven't got a decent phone camera thing to record it, you know, but people gave me crap, you know, all this sort of stuff. You present the truth to them, they get really upset because they're conditioned, they're programmed to read these modernized versions, right, and believe it. There's even a claim that by some church pastors apparently, that even if it proves to be a lie, still believe it. It's like, well, how strange is that, right? How weird is that? Yeah, you present them the truth and they like get anti, they want to shoo you away, you know, make up some excuse. We've got a meeting down the road with this person, you know, so later, and all the time, or their brother's going to pick them up, all the time, you just stand there like you watch, waiting. It doesn't come at all, right? It's just an excuse. Or they say, they come to your house to visit you and preach you this, whatever their belief system is, Sabbaths or whatever, right? And then you show them the truth, they're exposed, they get all upset, and they make an excuse. Oh, well, we've got to meet someone down the road. Had a 4 o'clock appointment. All the time they didn't. It's just an excuse to get out of it. With that, you can keep them away from your house if you know the truth, the whole truth, yeah, the real truth. Right? They don't like it. It's a cognitive thing. Okay, I was told this by a person who was going for her master's degree in order to get her PhD. She had to sit her master's degree first in order to be eligible to get a PhD. She couldn't have a PhD straight away. Yeah, all this sort of stuff. She had to go through this process. Okay, so yeah, if you like this video, hopefully it's not too long, subscribe, yeah, give us a like, okay, and go tell your friends. Add your comments, don't forget that. If you like your comments, we appreciate them. Go tell all your Christian friends, hey man, yeah, these kind of dudes are telling us a load of rubbish. You know, this guy's proving it all out there, or yeah, most of all out, let's say all out there that I've come across. They're just telling a lot of rubbish, you know. They get all snotty because you're exposing them to the real truth, the whole truth, you know, according to the scriptures. Okay, so they start slagging you off. Oh, look at your shoes, they haven't got frills on them. Or your pants hasn't got frills on them, according to the Old Testament. That's old, right? That's old. That's all over. Yeah, Jews still do that stuff, but we as Gentiles, yeah, it's all in the scriptures, right? But yeah, that's what they do. They say, oh, you're not wearing the right shirt or the right pants with frills on it, or whatever, you know, you're off the devil, all this sort of stuff. I'd watch out for what you got, you know. You prove it to them, yeah, they'll run off, sort of thing. Okay, so don't forget to subscribe if you like this. Subscribe to our channel. Add your comments down below. Give us a thumbs up, a like, and go tell all your friends, your cat, your dog, your parrot, about the ministry of the real truth. We'll watch you later.